All right, today we're going to talk about something most of us use every single day, the credit card. We're going to crack open the hidden psychology behind this little piece of plastic and figure out how it's basically engineered to make us spend more, a lot of the time without us even noticing. So, what's the secret? I mean, how does this tiny, weightless piece of plastic have such a massive hold on our wallets and even our decisions? It's a fascinating question, right? Okay, let's dive in and find out. Well, it all starts with this huge paradox. You see, the promise of a credit card is all about convenience, financial control, and building your credit score. But the reality? The way they're actually designed? It's all about bypassing our self-control, pushing us towards impulse buys, and creating this illusion of wealth. Let's break down exactly how they pull this off. Okay, first up, let's look at the transaction itself. The entire goal here is to make the actual act of spending feel, completely painless. And this gets us to a really key idea from behavioral economist Dan Ariely. He calls it the pain of paying. And you know exactly what this is. It's that tangible, almost physical sting you feel when you hand over a crisp bill. That feeling is actually a natural brake that slows down our spending. Think about it. When you pay with cash, you physically watch your wallet get lighter. You see the money disappear. Your brain processes that as a real, tangible loss, a sacrifice. And that forces you to pause and ask, hey, is this really worth it? But with a credit card, it's just a simple swipe, a tap, a click online. There's no physical loss. The purchase is psychologically separated or decoupled from the payment. And just like that, the natural brake on our spending is gone. It becomes almost too easy. So, that painless feeling, it gets amplified like crazy in today's world. Everything is designed for pure impulse. How? By removing every last bit of friction. And when you remove friction, you also remove thought. I mean, just think about your own online shopping. Your card details, they're saved everywhere. Amazon has one-click ordering. You've got Apple Pay or Google Pay on your phone. The whole point of the system is to shrink the gap between I want that and I bought that down to practically zero. So why does removing that friction work so well? Well, it taps directly into how our brains are wired. The work of Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman explains this perfectly. He talks about two systems. System 1 is our fast, emotional, gut reaction brain. System 2 is our slow, logical, deliberate brain. By making purchases instant, retailers keep us locked in that impulsive System 1. Our rational System 2 literally doesn't have time to wake up and ask the important question, wait a minute, do I actually need this? Okay, so it's not just about tricking us into impulse buys. The credit card itself, the product, is loaded with all these subtle traps that are designed to completely warp our sense of financial reality. And the first one is maybe the most powerful. It's what we can call the illusion of wealth. It's all about blurring that critical line between what's your money and what's the bank's money. So let's say your take-home pay each month is 5,000 lei, okay? That's your actual hard-earned money. That's your reality. But you get a credit card in the mail with a 20,000 lei limit. Now, consciously, you know that's not your money. It's a loan. But subconsciously, your brain gets anchored to that much bigger number. You start to feel like you have 20,000 lei to spend, not just 5,000. And of course, if that feeling of wealth causes you to overspend, the banks have the next trap all set up and ready to go, the minimum payment. This little feature is pure psychological genius, designed to make a huge debt look tiny and totally manageable. This example shows you exactly how dangerous it is. Let's say you buy a new sofa for 6,000 lei. Your statement comes and it says, minimum payment due 150 lei. That sounds great, right? Super affordable. But here's the catch. If you only pay that minimum amount, it could take you more than 8 years to pay off that sofa. And get this, by the end, you will have paid over 7,000 lei just in interest. That's more than the sofa itself cost in the first place. Just let that sink in. All right, the next trick up their sleeve is something called gamification. The banks have become absolute masters at turning the act of spending money into a fun, rewarding little game. You know what I'm talking about. Cashback, airline miles, reward points, VIP status, all of it. It's basic psychology, really. Every time you spend, you get a little reward, a little digital ding, a little hit of dopamine in your brain that says, hey, that was good, let's do it again. It conditions you to spend more. But you have to stop and look at the actual math behind it. You might have to spend, say, 5,000 lei just to get 50 lei in cash back. So it forces you to ask a really important question. Are you really winning this game? Or is the game itself just a clever trick to get you to spend way more than you would have otherwise? Who's really playing whom here? And finally, there's the social pressure. Think about those fancy metal cards, the gold, the platinum, the Centurion Black card. They're not just for paying for things, they're status symbols. They tap right into this idea of conspicuous consumption, which is basically spending money on fancy things just to show everyone else how successful you are, even if that success is completely built on borrowed money. Okay, so we've laid out all these psychological traps, and it might sound a little bleak, but the big question is, what do we do about it? How do we fight back and turn this thing from a dangerous master into a genuinely useful tool? Honestly, the single most powerful weapon you have in your arsenal is awareness. That's it. Just by understanding all these little tricks and psychological games we've talked about, you've already taken the biggest and most important step toward disarming them. So let's just recap the big takeaways here. The main thing to remember is that a credit card is a double-edged sword. It's not evil, but its whole business model is built on exploiting these little quirks in our human psychology. It works by taking away the pain of paying, by blurring that line between your money and the bank's money, and by turning your spending habits into an addictive game. So what's the solution? You have to create your own friction. Since the card is designed to be frictionless, you have to intentionally build your own speed bumps. That could mean following a strict budget, setting up spending alerts on your phone that ping you after every purchase, or using an app to track everything. The goal is to consciously add back that little moment of pause, that moment of reflection that technology has worked so hard to get rid of. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Now that you know exactly how these cards are designed to work against you, I want you to go look in your wallet, pull out that card, and ask yourself a very simple question. Is this card your tool, or are you its tool?